Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Zip, Associate Editor of Solar Power World, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Affordable, Profitable, and Attainable Commercial Rooftop Installations. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few house cleaning items. I'd like to mention that this webinar will be available after the presentation on solarpowerworldonline.com and also will be emailed to all registrants. Secondly, there'll be a question and answer session at the end of all the presentations. We encourage you to participate. You may submit your questions at any time throughout the webinar by typing them into the GoToMeeting panel, which should be on your right. Lastly, we realize that not everyone who would have liked to attend this webinar could, so we encourage everyone to tweet about key topics and discuss takeaways using the Twitter hashtag #SolarWebinar. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our presenter, John Rithens. John is the Director of Product Management at Solon Corporation. Solon is headquartered in Tucson, Arizona, though John is actually based out of the company's San Francisco office. John is responsible for bringing new innovative products to the North American market with a focus on driving down costs of the installation process while maintaining high quality and reliability. John recently led his team that launched the Solon SolQuick product for commercial rooftops, and that actually won this year's Intersolar Award for PV Innovation. Prior to joining Solon in 2010, John held roles in strategic product planning, vendor management, and sales at Sunwise Technologies. John entered the solar industry in 2006 with Mitsui, and he holds a dual BA from the University of California, Los Angeles, and an MBA from Santa Clara University. So, John, thanks so much for being with us here today, and please go ahead whenever you're ready.
Great, thanks, Kathy. Before we get started, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us today. I recognize we're all very busy, and Solon very much appreciates your interest in our SolQuick product. So without any further ado, I'll get started with today's presentation. And Kathy, could you please advance the slide? Great. So let's start with a few basic notes about Solon and Solon Corporation. So Solon Corporation is part of the Solon group of companies that includes Solon Germany, Italy, and our module manufacturing plant in the UAE. Solon was founded in Germany in 1997 and has 15 years of solar history and innovation. In March of this year, we were purchased by Microsol Systems based out of the UAE. Our North American headquarters were founded in Tucson, Arizona in 2007, and we have offices in Phoenix and San Francisco. And we have more than 85 megawatts of systems installed in the United States. Our business is organized into two business units, both solar products and solar power plants. SolQuick and myself sit in the solar products group. Next slide, please, Kathy. So getting a little more into the history of Solon, we have over 310 megawatts of our own systems at work globally. So every product that we design is informed by this experience, the experience of a company with 15 years in the solar industry that's not only sold products into the market, but installed our own. Next slide, please, Kathy. So included in those 300 megawatts is 55 megawatts of rooftop projects in Germany, in Italy, and in the United States. So a lot of this work that we did on rooftops informed the product that you're about to see today. Next slide, please. So when you're doing a rooftop project, there's a lot of technical challenges that have to be overcome, and many of you who have been in the industry for a while are very well aware of this. So when we designed SolQuick, the SolQuick design is intended to address these challenges. When you're looking at a rooftop and designing a rooftop product, you have to have a product that's going to, deal with weather across the country, from anywhere from, windy and humid Florida all the way to dry and extremely hot Arizona, going up to New Jersey where there's heavy snow loads. You also have to deal with seismic, lots of different roofing manufacturers and membranes, and really, as a product manufacturer, it's very difficult to understand, the quality or the age or the initial condition of the roof that your product is going to be installed in. So when you're designing the product, all of these things have to be taken into account. Furthermore, while there are a number of different solutions existing for the rooftop market, we really tried to focus on a few basic points. First is reducing the field labor by having fewer parts, and use a material that's going to allow us some material savings. If you look at the current approach to the solar market right now, on this slide you can see a number of different brackets, extrusions, footings, clamps, etc. And there's something that all of these have in common. So while there's a number of very good products out there, most of them are made out of, almost all of them are made out of metal or contain metal, which means that they need to be grounded. They have many, many pieces that need to be put together in kind of an erector set style on top of the roof. They tend to be complicated and require, nuts and bolts and directions and training and a lot of planning and staging ahead of time because they're so labor intensive. So, Solon, when we came out to started to design our product, really set out to simplify this process dramatically. And in doing so, we achieved, some important advantages in the marketplace. In addition to kind of the standard approach, if you look at the rooftops themselves, they're highly variable. So we all know that the biggest opportunities in the marketplace are the biggest, flattest, most wide open roofs. Those also happen to be the roofs that most often have weight restraints on them or weight constrictions. They require a very, very lightweight solution, and they are not able to take a lot of ballast or penetration. So in designing our system, we really wanted to create the best lightweight rooftop system we could. And that's really the sweet spot for our system is large roofs on distribution centers or big box stores. And that's really where we're going to see the most exciting results for SolQuick. So again, when you're looking at any rooftop and you're approaching the problem, you have to decide, what is the dead weight load for this roof? How is the weight distributed across the roof? Does it need to be, are you placing your system over the joists and purlins appropriately? And how are you dealing with each individual roof's particular variabilities, such as the undulations or drainage issues for a given roof? Because the term flat roof is really a misnomer. There are no flat roofs. They all have some angle, some undulation, some drainage that needs to be accounted for. In addition, when you're doing a rooftop installation, we've all had to deal with the challenges posed by how do you get this product on the roof, how do you get your installation done so that not only you don't damage the roof during the installation, but the roof is also not damaged during the lifetime of the product. Also, you want to create a product that isn't going to have undue ponding or create any damage to the roof because of a chemical reaction between the product and the roof itself. Once you've gone through the minefield of identifying the roof, winning the deal, identifying your product and mitigating all the risks associated with installing on a big flat roof, you also have to make a profit at the end of the day. And we know that out in the market right now there's a large amount of competitors, and with a standard rack and module it's very difficult to differentiate your own installation from anyone else's installation, both in terms of the end product, but also how you install it and the kinds of margins that you're able to win in the marketplace. So when we look at this problem and we see that market out there, the flat roof market with its attendant risks and needed mitigations for the roof itself and the membrane itself, and also trying to keep in mind that we're in a business and our customers are in a business to make a profit on their installations, we really broke out kind of where the costs laid out in the system. And obviously, on the module side, Solon, having been a module vendor for 15 years, is very familiar with the costs of the modules. And then we looked at the product and looked at BOS and saw what could we impact with our product on the BOS side. So, racking, wiring, cabling, and grounding were all things that we determined we could address quickly with the product, the SolQuick product that we launched. In addition, there's labor costs, not only in the construction of the installation and the electrical connection of the installation, but also on the engineering side. And as you'll see in a few minutes, we really address the engineering side in two ways. First, our product is fixed, so it's a fixed tilt. It has the same form factor every time, so it's a simple product to lay out and design to. In addition, we provide a full range of engineering services to support our product. From everywhere from initial layouts through stamped drawings. When you look at the BOS installation cost, just to kind of set everybody's on the same playing field, we look at roughly, given where panel prices are today, they've been reduced significantly over the last few years. And so the panel is now less than half the cost of the installation, which means there's a big opportunity for us to save our customers money on the racking, the labor, and the associated expenses of the installation. And when you think about where that labor cost is, it really sits in the installation time. So again, the design of the installation is complex if you have a product that has a number of moving parts or is not fixed, or you have to determine the exact tilt angle you're going to use for a given site. In addition, if you're procuring modules, racking, and labor from a number of different manufacturers and vendors, there's time and energy put into coordinating those relationships instead of having one single source to go to. In addition, we find that the logistics get very complicated because you have to get the timing set up right. You have to have site prep and or pre-panelization either on or off site. And you have to set aside a significant staging area to get that pre-installation or that site prep work done. In addition, then you're to the installation and you're on the rooftop, essentially creating your erector set on the roof before the modules are even installed. And finally, in commissioning, if you have a product that has high variability, that has many parts and needs to be bolted together, it's important to go back and make sure that that's all done. And you just have a much higher opportunity for problems or things to be forgotten, failure points when you have a rooftop system that has to be constructed. So what's the solution to all these issues? What's the solution to rooftop variability across the United States? The problems associated with weight restrictions on the most promising solar roofs. The solution to the installation time and cost. We believe that the Solon solution is the SolQuick product and is the premier product for rooftop installations in the marketplace. So what is SolQuick? SolQuick is a 72-cell laminate that is a standard module with no frame that's affixed with a 2-part silicon adhesive to a rack made out of Fibrex. And Fibrex material is made by Andersen of Andersen Windows. It's a patented material. They have about 30 patents on it. And it's been used in the window and door industry since the early 1990s. So it has a long history of being deployed in rugged outdoor environments throughout the United States. The frame material is a plastic, so it's PVC and wood fiber. That wood fiber is sourced from Andersen's own mills, and it's blended together into material that looks and behaves much like a PVC extrusion would. In addition, that material is very, very light, and that's where SolQuick gets its feather-light quality of just 2.8 pounds per square foot with no ballast. So prior to ballasting, again, we're 2.8 pounds per square foot, and in addition to that, the product, when it sits on the roof, has a large amount of the product touching the roof, so you have very low point loads. In addition, this product is highly adaptable to any roof. So whether you're installing on a elastomeric roof, if you're installing on a bitumen roof, on a membrane roof, any kind of flat roof, this product is very versatile and fits that roofing market perfectly. Because the PVC material in the Fibrex is inert, it has no chemical reaction with any kind of roofing material. So the product has no exposed metal. So we have a letter of non-grounding from ETL. Again, the laminate has no metal frame, so there's also no edges on the glass for any dirt to get caught on. In addition, the Fibrex material itself has no metal in it, and the wind deflector and everything else is also made of plastic or non-conductive material. So the fact that you're not grounding the product saves an enormous amount of time and cost associated with grounding. There's a lot less hassle. In addition to not having to ground, as you can see in the picture in front of you, the pigtails are actually ship sticking out of the wind deflector. So in the picture in front of you, you can see that you simply, when you place the units together, you take the pigtail that sticks out on the right and the pigtail that sticks out on the left, the positive and negative, and you connect them. Once you've connected them, you can then push those connectors through the keyhole and store the connector underneath the laminate. So your string level connections are incredibly fast. Another thing that leads to our really quick and fast installation is our interconnection device, which I'd like to talk about at length for a moment here. That interconnection device we call the U-bolt, and it is patent pending. The U-bolt is made out of automotive plastic that's been used in the automotive industry for many decades. It's UV resistant and meets all the strength tests that are required by the system. This U-bolt is actually the only tool that you need to connect the two devices. There's no other hand tool that connects the devices. So the way that it works is the U is simply squeezed on and the gate comes off. You place the U through holes that are routed into the Fibrex material, and then you place the gate on top of the U-bolt, and it locks into place. And that's your connection. It's the only connection you need, and you only need one U-bolt for all the systems, whether or not you're connecting 1, 2, 3, or 4 units, and all those units, whether or not those units are connected in north, south, east, or west. So again, think about the simplicity on the rooftop. In the current system, most current systems require a number of hand tools, a number of metal pieces or parts, and not only are those hand tools and pieces and parts taking time to use and put together and install the system, but they also represent a hazard to the roof, particularly if you're on a thin or lightweight roof with a very thin membrane on it. Then every time you drop a tool or you drop a screw or a rivet, that poses the danger of poking a hole in the roof. With the SolQuick system and the U-bolt, you don't pose any of that danger. Not only are your installers not carrying any tools, but they are also installing incredibly quickly with one simple piece. So again, the product that we've designed for SolQuick really drives down the cost of your system, and particularly when you're installing on a very large, lightweight roof. First of all, most of those lightweight roofs can't be handled by any other product, And then once you're on that roof and installing, you're installing very, very fast. The product is compatible for all roof types and it doesn't require any grounding. It has no frames, and it's a very, very simple to engineer product. So what we want to do is walk you through briefly what an installation using SolQuick actually looks like. We have a number of installations out in the marketplace on schools and big box retailers. So some of these pictures that you're going to take a look at are from actual installations done by customers of Solon. So the first step you have to do is lay out your product placement on the rooftop. So once you're up on the roof, unlike most systems where you have to do a lot of surveying and drawing of lines, for SolQuick, because it's a fixed product that's square or rectangular, all you need to do is really get your corner. So you map out your product placement first. The second step is getting the product up on the roof. So an important thing to realize about SolQuick is that the product ships nested, standing up. There are 8 units per pallet. And those 8 units get lifted up on the roof and they're fully assembled. So when you get a SolQuick shipment to your job site, there's no work that needs to be done on the job site other than unloading the truck and then placing the units on the roof. In fact, if you're using a pallet crane like you see here, you can actually unload the truck and put the product on the roof with the very same crane. So that saves you in time, it saves you in labor, and it's a very quick process. When the product is installed on the roof, the first thing that's done is the pallet gets lifted up to the roof, and then each of the 8 units is individually wrapped on the pallet, as you see in this picture. So first you cut through one piece of plastic, and it releases the one product while the others stay on the pallet. So you don't have to worry about anything falling off of the pallet on the rooftop. 2 people can then pick up the product and carry it. It weighs about 80 pounds. And so it's very comfortable for 2 people to carry those and carry hundreds of them in a day without putting any strain on the customer. The other thing you can see here is the product. You can see the undercarriage of the product, and you can see how its footprint on the roof is designed to reduce point loads. So it's kind of like a large picture frame being laid down on the roof, which does not cause point loading the way that other products do. The other thing to keep in mind is there are holes that allow for drainage in the product, so you don't have to worry about ponding or drainage on the roof. In this picture, you can see 2 gentlemen carrying the SolQuick and placing it into the roof. So as you can see, it's a fully fixed product. There's no adjustments that need to be made. So it's simply a matter of taking the product, taking it off the pallet, and laying it down into the array. And there is no need to lay out individual lines or row lines because everything is square and sits together. As the pallets are being laid down, the U-bolt is in place, which we'll see in just a moment. The other thing to keep in mind is these pallets that carry 8 units weigh about 700 pounds, so they can easily be placed on a cart and pushed across a roof, even if it's a very lightweight roof. It doesn't cause damage to the membranes, and it's easy to stage the product all over the roof without concern for weight. Once the pallets are set down next to each other, the U-bolt is deployed into the units to connect them together. Again, there's no tools being used here. The product is simply snapped together in place. And this U-bolt, again, can be used whether or not you're connecting 4 units, 3 units, or 2 units. Once the units are connected with the mechanical installation, then the electrical string level connection can occur. Again, this is incredibly fast because we've designed the product to have the positive and negative for each unit right next to each other. And when they are snapped together, it takes just a few seconds. the process that you just saw, which is the process from the pallet being put on the roof to the units being set down, to being connected by the U-bolt, to being connected mechanically, that entire process can be done conservatively at 15 racks per man-hour. So that's about, that's using a 280-watt module, that's about 4.25 kilowatts per man-hour. So this is very, very fast. You know, according to the market research we've done, most products out there are being installed at a rate, to this point, at a rate of about 6 kilowatts. I'm sorry, 6 units per man-hour, far fewer kilowatts than what we're doing. Once the unit is placed, the U-bolt is placed, the string-level electrical connection is made, then the ballast can be placed on the rooftop, and the ballast loading is calculated by our team in-house. So this is part of the engineering processes and engineering services that we provide. So let me take a moment just to talk about how we do that. If you have a rooftop that you would like to use SolQuick on, you contact our sales team, provide some basic information about the roof, including the roof layout. I'm sorry, including the you know, a drawing of the roof, and let us know what your pound or weight requirements are, pounds per square foot requirements are, and then our team internally will use our wind data in our ballast calculator to generate a layout for your specific site. So every single site has a different wind profile and therefore requires different ballasting calculations. Our wind study was conducted by CPP in Colorado, which is the premier wind tunnel and wind study institute in the United States. And so we've worked very closely with them to understand how our product behaves throughout the U.S., whether you're in California or New Jersey or Florida or Texas, and understand how our product is going to behave on that roof for a given height, a given exposure class, etc. And then we'll lay out that system for you and provide you with a preliminary layout at no cost. Once you're ready to move on with your project, if you've won the contract, we will continue to work with you to finalize the wind study report and the ballast calculations for that installation, and we'll provide you with all that information so you can get a stamp drawing. If you have a third party that you would like to have stamp the product, we will provide all the necessary support to that third party so that they can proceed with the stamp. And if you would like us to procure the stamp for you, we can do that as well. So once the ballast is in place, this installation is complete. There are sites that will require penetrations, and we have a penetration solution that is an accessory to the product that can be used in seismic areas or in areas where you want to eliminate or greatly reduce ballast by using penetrations. And we also provide all the engineering support around.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, Web Events Made Easy.
So that completes the overview of the SolQuick product, and we've left plenty of time here to answer questions from the audience. We really like to get your response and understand, you know, what questions you have, and that's what I'll spend the next few minutes doing.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much, John. And now I'm sure after all that information, the audience has some questions, so we'll begin asking those. And everyone, remember that you can submit questions at any time in your GoToMeeting panel on your right, so please do participate. Let's start off. John, someone wants to know, can you get away with not grounding the system?
Yeah, so this system does not require grounding, and it's designed specifically not to require grounding because it has no exposed metal parts. So we have a letter from ETL indicating the system doesn't require grounding, and we keep in mind that the material, the racking material that we use is Fibrex, which is completely non-conductive. So you do not need to ground the product. That being said, if you're running metal conduit for your home run wires or your DC combiner boxes, those will need to be grounded as usual.
What about the life expectancy of the adhesive that attaches to the laminate to the frame? Is it warranted for the life of the solar panel?
Right. So our product, I'll answer that question in two ways. First, the adhesives that we use are industrial adhesives that are used in, similar to same adhesives that are used to hold windows in skyscrapers. They're very well-known industrial adhesives, and so there's no concern on our part about how those adhesives, adhere both to the Fibrex and to the laminate. That being said, our product currently carries a 10-year product warranty and a 25-year performance warranty, and any workmanship issues would be dealt with through that warranty.
And can you explain why you selected Andersen's Fibrex material?
Sure. It's a great question. Thanks for that. One of the key things that we did when we set out on this, to create this product was we knew that to really create a groundbreaking product, we'd have to get away from using metal components in the product for a number of reasons. One has to do with the aforementioned grounding. The other has to do with, the fact that we want to be the best lightweight rooftop system out in the marketplace. So when we set out designing the product, we looked at a variety of different plastics, HDPE and other plastics that are commonly used in outdoor settings. And there were a couple of key factors, a couple key reasons why we chose Fibrex. The first of those is it had to meet all of our material property requirements. So it had to be strong enough. It had to meet the form factors that we needed, et cetera, to create the product. The second thing is we needed to pick a product that had that was well understood in a rugged outdoor environment, product that we were very confident with the reliability, and we had a manufacturer that would be a partner to us that had really dug into the product and understood how it would behave in the outdoors. And that really the only product that we determined met those criteria was Andersen and the Fibrex material. Andersen has millions of windows out in the U.S. marketplace in all geographic areas that have used Fibrex, and they very well understand its longevity, and we're very comfortable that it will, last the 25 years at least of the product design life. In addition, the final characteristic is we knew that we're in an incredibly competitive marketplace, and we needed to find a material that allowed us to compete in that marketplace, even though it was different than our competitors. And so we were able to identify Fibrex and work closely with Andersen to offer our product at a very competitive place in the marketplace.
I'll combine a couple of questions into one here.
Sure.
The audience is wondering if the product is available for the European market, and also if it's appropriate for use with microinverters.
Okay, both great questions. The first answer is SolQuick is not currently available in the European market. Solon does have a rooftop product in the European market called SolFix, which is similar in some ways, but also different. Similar in the market and the approach that it takes, but it is a different product that made some different design choices. So SolQuick is purely for the U.S. market. For the second question, I'm sorry, could you repeat the second question?
Yes, they were just wondering how it works with microinverters. With
microinverters. So currently, SolQuick does not have an adapter for microinverters, but we do recognize that microinverters will be a larger and larger part of the market in the future. So make sure to check back with us soon on that topic.
John, can you talk a little bit more about the U-bolt?
Sure. Again, the U-bolt is one of the key features of the product, and the benefit that the U-bolt gives the installer is two or threefold. First of all, it's the only part that you need to bring on the roof apart from the SolQuick itself and the ballast. So it's a very simple part. It is very quick to install, and it doesn't require any tools. It also doesn't have any metallic edges that would potentially damage the membrane. So it allows for a very fast, safe, and clean installation. The other thing to keep in mind about the U-bolt is that it's made with a UV-resistant material that's been used in the auto industry for a long time. So we're very comfortable with its lifespan.
Can you explain, can you identify what the power output is of each unit?
Sure, yeah. So we have a number of different power classes. Our standard power class is in the 280 to 285 watt range. That's a polycrystalline 72 cell module. Again, there's 72, not 60 cells. In addition to that, we do have currently in stock some 295 and 300 watt monocrystalline laminates, and we'll be carrying the product in both polycrystalline and monocrystalline in the future.
All right. And can you explain why someone should choose SolQuick over other non-metallic product offerings?
Sure. So there's a couple of key reasons. First of all, SolQuick is at its best on a lightweight in a lightweight roof constraint environment. So if you have a very large roof array that you need to deploy a large amount of solar capacity on in a very short period of time at a very light weight, SolQuick is the best solution out there on the marketplace. In addition, there are other non-metallic products out there, but the key thing to keep in mind is virtually all of them require some assembly on the roof. So some of those use the approach of deploying a some kind of plastic footing or bin that then requires a metal attachment. So you're adding labor, you're adding metal that needs to be grounded, you're adding the danger of the nuts or bolts that are used to put that rack on the footing, and then you're also adding a module that's heavy because it has a frame, and it has a frame, so it needs to be grounded, and you're also not getting any of the benefit of of having your string level wiring pre-assembled, pre-put in place as you would in the SolQuick. So why would you use SolQuick against any other non-metallic product? Very simple. First, we're going to be lighter weight. Second, you're going to install our product faster. Those are really the key things that everybody wants to do: install on more, bigger roofs faster.
Absolutely. And what is your time frame from contract award to delivery of the product? And is it dramatically different between 100 kilowatt projects and 1 megawatt projects?
That's a great question. So we do have some product in stock now for projects that are in the few hundred kilowatt range. So the time between contract and shipping is quite short for smaller commercial projects in the few hundred kilowatt range. For projects that are a megawatt or larger, we do have capacity in our factory for the remainder of Q3 and Q4. So if you contact myself, or if you already have been in contact with a Solon salesperson, you can reach out to them, and we can talk about your particular project and your delivery need.
Okay. Someone's wondering what the recommended width and frequency of access rows for maintenance would be.
Okay, that's a question that would vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. What I would say is, in general, our product, has to conform to all the same jurisdictional requirements for fire access and width that any other solar system would. So, whether you're using our unitary racking system or somebody else's, metal racking system, they're all going to be under the same jurisdiction that's defined by either the state or county or city that you're installing in.
All right, here's another question here. Do roofing manufacturers warrant their roof when they use your system?
Right. So that's a great question. We've done a lot of work reaching out to the roofing community and are well aware of the concerns that they have with rooftop solar. And what we found is that our product addresses, most if not all of those concerns because it is, completely smooth on the bottom. It's made out of PVC. You're not taking any tools or metal, nuts or bolts up on the roof. So, the product, is been very well received by the roofing community. That being said, every single roofing manufacturer and and warranty holder has their own particular set of requirements. So what we suggest to our customers is talk with your roofing manufacturer, share with them the material that you have about the SolQuick product. If they have questions, they're free to contact us. And at the end of the day, the roofing warranty is decided on a project-by-project basis, just as it would be with any other installation. That being said, our product has a number of features that I just listed that make it very friendly to roofs, and that's been recognized by the manufacturers we've spoken with.
All right. Someone is wondering, they're looking at your spec sheet here, and it says up to 4,300 PA, including snow load. But then it also states, let me just pull this up here. Sorry, one moment. I'm trying to see the rest of the question. Oh, but then it also states 2,400. So they're wondering which one is the correct number.
Right. So were you all listed? So our product can handle and is warranted to very high snow loads, and so our product actually can handle compression higher than a standard laminate, and that has to do with the structure of the product. So the laminate is adhered right on top of the SolQuick structure, and there are standoffs underneath the laminate that hold the product up, and that support structure is what provides us with very high compression loads. So we're warranted up to 50 pounds. That's the warranty offering that we provide. So I don't have a copy of the spec sheet right in front of me. I hope that addresses the question for the customer. And if not, they can reach out to me at the email on their screen, and I'd be happy to chat with them in more detail.
I'm getting a lot of questions on the angle. They're wondering where it's fixed at and if there's any options for it.
No, that's a great question. So the product is at nominal 10 degrees. It's actually at 9.25 degrees specifically, but it's a nominal 10-degree tilt. And we selected and it is fixed. There is no changing of the tilt. So the product is placed there because we tried to strike the optimum balance between roof capacity, so packing more watts of capacity on a roof. At the same time, we wanted a higher than 5-degree tilt angle because we wanted to encourage self-cleaning. As you've noted, or as I noted earlier, there's no frame on the product, so when it's tilted at 10 degrees, it really helps the self-cleaning aspect of the product. But we also needed to have it low enough to where we could obtain the best possible aerodynamics for the product, so that we can attack those lightweight roofs that I've spoken about before. So the product is set at a nominal 10 degrees, and it is completely fixed. One of the reasons why we chose to have it be fixed is, it aids in the simplicity of the engineering and the installation of the product, and it also make sure that when you have folks out installing the product in the field, that there's no moving parts that can be misplaced, and you're also not taking time to set that tilting.
I'm also getting a lot of questions about if the system has a base. One person even asked if the system can be elevated on a rack system 3 to 4 inches above the roof deck due to roof obstructions.
Okay, good question. So I'm going to go back to a picture in the slide deck, and I'm wondering, Kathy, if you can help me by going back to one of the installation slides, because I think that will help answer this question best.
Yeah, we can go back to one of the installation slides if you let us know which one it was. We'll go back here.
Maybe if you go back 2 or 3 slides, let me see,
All right.
because that will help us, help me speak about this in a little more detail.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep, keep going. 1 more, 2 more. 1
2
more.
more?
There you go, right there.
Right there.
Go forward 1. Forward 1, please.
Oh, go forward 1 more.
Yep, perfect, right there. So if you look at where the gentleman's holding the product, that is all that you see when you take the unit off the pallet. So there's no base. The product sits on top of the Fibrex, which is about 3 inches wide, and that's all there is to it. What that does is it disperses the pounds per square foot and reduces the point loads. The product cannot be placed on a rack or elevated. It needs to be placed on the ground or on the floor, on the roof, to prevent any deflection in the laminate. So it's designed to be set flat down on the roof. The U-bolt does have some play in it. So from unit to unit, there is a little bit of ability for the product to mold itself to the undulating roof.
Okay. Has the product ever been allowed to be on a job, or not been allowed, I'm sorry, to be on a job due to the PVC, which is banned on some green buildings? Does that make sense?
Okay, yes, I understand the question. That has never been an issue for us, and one of the things that we like to highlight about the material is it's actually 40% recycled wood fiber in the material. That wood fiber is completely encased in the thermoplastic and the PVC, so there's no water that's being absorbed, there's no rot, there's no issues like that. But because there's such a high proportion of the product that can be or that is recycled material, it's actually quite green. In addition to that, the rack itself at the product's end of life can be ground up and returned and put back through the process and turned into another rack or another window or some other material, so it's completely recyclable.
Are all sales direct from the manufacturer, John?
Yes. Actually, I will say we are working with a few sales reps that are independent reps, but all the product is shipped from our warehouse, and those reps work very closely with our team.
And is your warehouse in Tucson? Is that where?
Yeah. So the product is actually manufactured in our plant in Tucson, Arizona. So that's where we cut and weld the racking together and attach the laminate to the rack.
Okay. Someone has an interesting question that I've always kind of wondered too. They're wondering what happens with the solar installation when the flat roof system needs to be repaired or replaced at the end of its life.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand the question properly. The question is, if there needs to be repair to the roof or if the roof needs to be replaced, how does that impact the solar system?
Yes.
Great. Well, I'm glad that question was asked because it actually gives me an opportunity to talk about one of the other features of the product, which is because it's so easy to install, it's also very easy to uninstall. So when you need to if you need to access the roof for repair, or if a section or all the system needs to be removed at some point to replace the roof because the roof is at end of life, then you simply uninstall it in the same way, the reverse of the way you installed it, which is you remove the ballast, you have to deal with the electrical home runs, and then you simply unclip your string level connections and unclip the U-bolt and lift the product up, and in a few moves you've both undid the electrical and mechanical connections, and you're removing the racking and module altogether. So the short answer is that with SolQuick, it's actually much easier than with other kinds of products to access a roof for either repair or replacement.
Are there any ventilation issues with modules that are near the rear surface, perhaps in a very hot environment?
Right. Yeah, we've done studies on how temperature impacts the product, and there are really no ventilation issues. The product has on its outer rows a side wind deflector, but other than that, in its inner rows has good ventilation through the sides. Also, the wind deflector and laminar are constructed such that there is a good chimney of air that aids in ventilation from beneath the unit.
Okay, someone's wondering if you can expand a little bit about discussing the north to south wiring. How is that completed?
Sure. So in cases, first what we would recommend is when you're doing your layout, the first thing to do is lay out your installation such that you minimize the need for doing north to south connections. That being said, if a north to south connection is needed, you'll need to reverse the polarity of the pigtails that are deployed in the product. So we have a process that we're happy to train people and show people for connecting north-south. Essentially, you'll have to take the pigtails out of the wind deflector and reverse the polarity so that you can then go back the other direction. To connect north-south, the cables, the pigtails themselves are long that are connected to the junction box. They're about 2 meters. So you can take those and in most cases connect straight from one junction box to the other once your polarity is reversed without the need for a jumper. In addition, we're happy to provide you with additional material and pointers on how to do a north-south jumper connection.
Okay. I think that's all we have time for. If you want to just end again, if someone's wondering on getting a quote or more additional information, can they contact you at the email listed on the question slide?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to take emails. If your question is a sales question, go ahead and send me the email, and I'll immediately connect you with the appropriate salesperson or representative to help you with your sales question. In addition, if you have questions, you can email me, and I'll respond. And I'd like to invite everybody to visit the Solon booth at SPI. We'll be in Orlando. Our booth number is 3210. So again, our booth number is 3210. I'd love to see you there and answer any other questions. We'll have a full staff there, and we're really looking forward to talking with all of you who were kind enough to take the time to join the webinar today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, John.
Great. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank everyone in our audience for listening. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. You had great questions, so that really makes for a wonderful discussion, and we appreciate those. And please do come back and join us for a future Solar Power World webinar. There's lots more to come. So thanks so much, and have a great day, everyone.